All right, welcome to Desiree's radio show. I am broadcasting from my tablet, in recovery still. This is the first day I've been able to really walk around and do some things, but it has been 3 days. Finally got my aneurysm fixed. It was, oh my God. So I'm going to kind of vent about it still because it's pretty fresh in my mind. And the whole 2 months was a very, I don't even know how to explain it. I was just going on with my life, and I was sitting here back and forth to doctors trying to figure out what's wrong. And I will give this advice, when you know something's wrong with your body and the doctors keep blowing you off, be persistent, because it is your life and your body, right? And sometimes if doctors just don't know, that's what they do. They blow it off or they don't take it serious. A good doctor will listen to the patient, because the patient, even though they don't know the words or aren't educated in the medical field, they know when something's wrong. Like, something is not right. And so I just spent a year, I would say about a year, going back and forth, looking like a complete nut job, right? Constantly going to urgent care, constantly going to the emergency room, making doctor's appointments, telling them, look, something's not right. I'm still getting dizzy, I'm still having these problems, and I can't function. And over time, it just got worse and worse. So finally, my doctor, she left. She went to a different city. And I got a new doctor. And so when I met that doctor, I explained to her, because if you look, I have like this massive record. And I said, please help me. I know something's wrong, etc. I know I went through this, but we're going to go through this again. So she ordered an MRI. And like in about 2 days, 3 days, kind of like a rush job, I got the MRI. And backtracking, I was just at the emergency room 2 days before that, and they gave me a CT scan and said they saw nothing. Okay, so keep that in mind. They saw nothing. 2 days later, I met the new doctor, and she ordered an MRI. And I went to go get it done. By the time I got home, I had 3 phone calls from them asking me to call them back. Sorry, I'm still coughing. That night, I called back, or I couldn't call back because I missed them. So before I could even wake up, they already called me in the morning. And I was like, okay, going on with my day. And they told me, they said, we found an aneurysm, an unruptured aneurysm. Sorry. I think I'll explain the coughing later. The moment I got that phone call, I just was stuck in terror, right? They told me how big it was and that it was small. They said, oh, it's small, we're just going to keep an eye on it. Well, you can't tell someone like me that, because I'm already having weird symptoms, right? So I've been complaining about these weird symptoms, and then she tells me something like that. Something with severe anxiety, okay? And the deal was, keep your blood pressure down, don't get too emotional, and we'll keep an eye on it. And I'm like, that's impossible, for me. Like, don't get emotional, don't, and what they mean by that is like, don't get upset, don't get happy, don't do anything outside of being extremely calm to keep it from rupturing. And I told them, I can't, is there anything I could do? Because I was freaking out on the phone, And I think it's the first time I just cry. I mean, the last 2 months I've cried so much, it just comes because it just triggered, it just triggered my shit, right? and it just, oh my God, it was so bad. Well, because of the triggers, I started getting massive headaches. And I'm sure we're going to be hearing about those, but right now we're talking about being a brain aneurysm survivor. Because that's what I am. And I am thankful. As much as I'm going to bitch right now, I feel very blessed because a lot of people don't even have that opportunity. They find out when it's too late. And there's only a 50% chance of survival if you have an aneurysm and it bursts. And even then, if you do survive, you may never be the same, so it's a scary thing. So I had to wait for a referral to a specialist, and they sent me to Los Angeles. And I met the person, and first you just talk, right? They give you a consult. Then I went in for an angiogram. And that was a freaking nightmare, but I will vent about that another day. And then they wanted to wait for the surgery for December 6th. And I was going to let it go. I was going to let it go and just wait it out. And something kept telling me, don't do it, So I emailed them and I just begged. I said, please, I can't live like this anymore. I am holding on the best I can, and my anxiety is just eating me up. Like, my anxiety alone is going to kill me. So they pushed it first to the 22nd of this month. But then I got a call, and they did it on the 15th. So I went in, I think that was Tuesday, and went to go get the coiling done. Now I've had a lot of surgeries, on my leg, and I maybe altogether like 4 surgeries on my leg, reconstruction and stuff like that. This one was different. It was such a bad experience for me. But I'm going to just stay on the positive. And the bad experience wasn't the actual fixing the aneurysm. It was the nurses in the nurse station, which I am now, I formally made a complaint. And I am going to follow through on it. Because I know a lot of good nurses from campus. And these people are really nice. They love what they do. And I just ended up with a bunch of bitches. But I won't talk about that right now. Right now I'm talking about being a brain aneurysm survivor. All I know is getting prepped. I was talking, I guess they slipped me the stuff. And I was out. Then there was a problem. I remember opening my eyes and seeing all these doctors around me saying, breathe, breathe. And I couldn't breathe. I couldn't breathe at all. My lungs were collapsed. Like, I couldn't breathe, and I started panicking. I was like, oh my God. And I remember thinking, oh, just knock me out. No, oh, I want to go, because I was so scared. That's all I remember. And I woke up in ICU, and I guess they had to revive me. I stopped breathing, and they were going to hook me up to life support machine. And while they were trying to get that ready, they did to me something they bagged me, which is, I don't know what that is. It's like this bag that they squeeze to get me to breathe for a while. And then all of a sudden I start breathing on my own. And next thing I know, I was in ICU. So I was in there for 2 days. Actually, today, I guess it's about 24 hours since I've been home. And I can't get it out of my head, I remember dying. I don't even know how to explain it. So many people are afraid of dying. I am terrified of dying. But now that I've experienced that, I guess it's like you're out. You know what I mean? It's like suddenly there, and then you're out. So you don't remember shit. And I was like, oh my God. But the whole thing was just so terrifying. I think it was the most terrifying thing I've ever experienced in my life. I mean, I shouldn't say that. I've experienced close calls with other things. But that was really making me aware of my mortality and everything. So afterwards, you talked to the doctor a little bit, and he said, "You're very lucky." And I said, "Yeah, I know, because you guys were able to revive me and stuff." And he goes, "No." He goes, "The aneurysm, they didn't want to tell me because of how anxious I was. The aneurysm was in a very complicated section. It's like this middle section of the brain. It's almost like, I don't know what it's called, but in the center of your brain, there's like a web. And it's almost like a computer. It's like a little circuit board, right? Where everything is connected. Everything. And it looks like that. It looks like a small motherboard or something. Well, that's exactly where my aneurysm was. And it was big. It wasn't small like they originally said. It already grew. And it was ready to rupture. So they just caught the thing. And I think on one of my podcasts, I kind of explained coiling. This is kind of new. So there is a chance of a reoccurrence. And if that happens, then I would get where they would have to open my brain and put a clip in. I kind of wanted that one instead, just to have that and put the clip in and be done with it, because nothing can happen after that. But they said they were going to try this because the neck of the aneurysm on me was really small, which is really good. Usually reoccurrence happens because it's wide, and then they have to put a stent in there to hold it in place. But if the neck of the aneurysm is small, there's a chance that it scars over, and then it's completely just shut off, and there's nothing, it won't come back at all. So I'm like, all right, I hope they're right, because I can't keep doing this. But now I will always have to go in and get MRIs every year. Well, right now right before Christmas, I got to get an angiogram, and then 6 months later, I get an MRI or whatever, and then another 6 months, I get that. And if it's still intact, then it's every year. And as I get older, then they just see, what happens, if it has to be redone or treated or whatever. So that's kind of scary, They could have just opened my head up and put the clip in. I mean, I know it would have been weird, but at least I know it's shut off and it won't leak, But this one, I have to be careful of it not leaking. And the problem is that I started, because my anxiety got so out of control, I now have cluster headaches. And the cluster headaches, I'm hoping will subside, because that too could kill me, right? But it's because my fear was just that bad. So right now I'm on constant stream of Ativan to calm me down and let me sleep. And I'm kind of weaning myself off it, because I just spent almost 12 weeks on, let's say, maybe 7 milligram doses every single day to keep me calm and my blood pressure down. And now there's really no need. I have to get it out of my system. But the thing is if I try to wean myself off, I get these cluster headaches. And so I have to wait on I have like 7 appointments in a row coming up. Like, they're already set for me. I go see neurology now, and the neurology is going to look at my spine and see what is causing all this, and it is looking like it's my anxiety and my PTSD stuff. It's just out of control. I need to learn to relax and just chill. Stop worrying all the time about everything. So that's the update. I am a brain aneurysm survivor. And to mark this occasion, which I think is a very big one, I'm going to get a tattoo. My very first tattoo. And I just decided to get like 2 little dots, like a semicolon, on my shoulder. That's it. Because that's all that I'm going to be able to stand. Someone in my Facebook suggested it, meaning that my life continues, right? Because I was going to get a brain aneurysm ribbon, but I'm not going to be able to handle that. I'm such a wuss. Like, there's like no way. I didn't even get my ears pierced till I was like 26 years old, because I'm such a wuss. So that's it. That's the update. That's my update on my health. I'll be slowly coming back to podcasting. I'm going to try. I have a few iHeart shows that I do have to catch up on to keep them active and current. I don't know if they're still there, but I hope they are. I wasn't trying to neglect the station. It's just life happens, I know my college stuff is out the window. Like, everything has been put on hold. The house is a complete mess. I still can't do anything. I can't drive for 5 weeks because I have to make sure I don't get seizures and stuff like that. I can't lift anything over 3 pounds. And I can walk, though, on a treadmill slowly to get my circulation going. And that's it. I can't lift weights. I can't do, like, heavy workouts yet. And I'm going to detox my body. So I will come back for another podcast for a different channel to talk about that. But on this, I just wanted to share my brain aneurysm experience. And if anybody has any questions, you can always just contact me either through Twitter or here or Facebook, and if you have anything about it. But the one thing I would like to say, if there is a possibility of this in your family, or even not, and you do have a lot of stress in your life, and you do, have quite a busy lifestyle, I would suggest, if just to on the safe side, to just get an MRI. Ask your doctor if you can have an MRI. It's almost like cancer. You get early detection, you can do preventative care. Now, there are people, that are walking around with it their whole life and nothing ever happens. But if you kind of don't know, or you've had it in the family, I would suggest, every once in a while, just go see. And then this way you could just catch it. Like in one way, I wish I didn't know, but I had actual symptoms. So that was the difference. If I didn't have symptoms, I would have never known, So, all right. So that's it for this podcast. Thank you for listening to Desiro's Radio.